Hey guys, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040, bringing to you some very interesting and exciting news from the world of the MCU. And there has been stories going around all day long that Jamie Foxx could be in final talks to reprise his role of Electro, who he played in Amazing Spider-Man 2 back in 2014. Wow, 2014, that's over 6 years ago. Wow, that's a long time. Time really flies, doesn't it? But anyway, that's what the story has been going around all day long, that Jamie Foxx could be returning as Electro for the third Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland. Now, this is a very interesting idea because could they be bringing Jamie Foxx back as Electro to tie in with the Sinister Six, or could they be bringing him back as the main villain, because we have yet to learn who the main villain is going to be for the third Spider-Man movie for the MCU. Now, I've been hearing stories for a long time that it could be Kraven the Hunter, who I personally would love to see because I'm a huge fan of Kraven, but I've been hearing other stories that it could be the Sinister Six all banding together to take down Spider-Man, because we've already seen that Adrian Toomes and Mac Gargan are cellmates back in Spider-Man Homecoming, so maybe they might tie that in together, because Mac Gargan also made a reference that I've got some friends on the outside who could help us out. So the seeds are planted for a possible Sinister Six appearance. Now, another interesting story that I've heard, that with Jamie Foxx possibly returning to the role of Electro, there is a possibility that Andrew Garfield could return to the role of Spider-Man, and that this movie could be the live-action take of Into the Spider-Verse for the big screen. That I'm not too sure about, because if you're going to do Into the Spider-Verse, then I would much rather see that as a separate movie than into this new Spider-Man movie for the MCU, because it starts to suffer from Spider-Man 3 syndrome, where there are just too many characters crammed into one, and personally I would rather not see that. But if the story is true that they want to bring Andrew Garfield back, do a separate movie where you could have all the Spider-Men working together. So you could possibly have Tobey Maguire back, have Andrew Garfield back, and you could have Tom Holland there as well. So that's another possibility. But as I said, this is just pure speculation. I personally don't know myself what's going on, but I just thought that I'd do this video and share my thoughts on how I think Jamie Foxx's Electro could be tied into the third Spider-Man movie for the MCU. But we'll just have to wait and see, really. But when Jamie Foxx was casted as Electro for Amazing Spider-Man 2, I'm not going to lie, I wasn't doing backflips over it, because Electro isn't what you would call one of my favourite Spider-Man villains. But Jamie Foxx, he's a decent actor, he's done some really good films, and I saw Amazing Spider-Man 2 on Blu-ray a few years ago, because I didn't actually see it on the cinema. I watched it around a friend's house, and it was actually not a bad film, and one of the best things about that film was Jamie Foxx's performance as Electro. He did a really good job, and he delivered a real kick-ass performance, and he was really, really dark in that role. And that was something that we didn't really see much in Spider-Man movies, a real dark villain, and he done a really good job. And I'm glad they didn't go with the whole yellow and green spandex suit, because that would have just looked stupid as hell. And the look that they went with is more from the recent comics, I think in Ultimate Spider-Man, where he's just completely blue from head to toe, and he's just glowing, full of electricity, and that's much better. And I hope they keep that look for Jamie Foxx if they decide to bring him back for the third instalment of the Spider-Man movies in the MCU. But again, we'll just have to wait and see, really. Now, however, Electro hasn't been in many forms of media. He was in the 60s cartoon for a few episodes. I believe he was in a couple of episodes in the 80s. He had a very, very tiny role in the 90s cartoon, almost like a cameo, where he was working alongside the Red Skull and the Chameleon. But other than that, he's primarily been in the comic books. So, in my opinion, Jamie Foxx has already made his mark as, you know, Electro. But we'll just have to wait and see, really. So, with that all said, I'm going to wrap this up now. What's your thoughts on Electro coming back to the next Spider-Man movie? Would you give Jamie Foxx another shot? How do you think they'll tie his Electro into this latest Spider-Man movie? Do you think they could tie him in with the Sinister Six, or do you think they'll make him the main villain again? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I will see all of you next time. So until then, take care everybody, and stay safe.